the grief doesn't last, it is gone. I've forgotten the past and the memories I had. I no longer desire both the good and the bad. I have flung in the fire, and I feel in my heart that the seed has been sown. It is something quite new. It's like nothing I've known. No regrets. No, I will have no regrets over things that went wrong. For at last.
Groete aan familie en vriende. Dit is my voorreg om julle te verwelkom by hierdie gedenkdiens vir Dennis. My naam is Werner en ek is Dennis se seun. En ek is dankbaar vir hierdie geleentheid wat ons het om sy lewe te gedenk en te vier. En ek gaan ook 'n boodskap met julle almal deel. Kom ons bid saam. Here, ons dank U vandag vir Dennis se lewe en vir die tyd wat ons met hom kon deel. Ons bid vir vertroosting en gemoedsrus vir elkeen van ons. Ons vra dat U diegene versterk wat hierdie verlies in diepste mate ervaar. Mag U hulle dra deur die dae van rou en verlange. Here, ons besef dat die dood deel is van ons lewensreis, maar tog is dit pynlik en hartseer. Ons vertrou onsself, Here, en hierdie gedenkdiens aan U toe. Versterk ons deur die genade en lei ons in die dae wat voorlê. In Jesus naam. Amen.
Here, my toevlug, U is God van my hart. Niks maak meer saak nie, slegs hier U wil. Neem nou my gedagtes vanoggend tot aand. Selfs as ek slaap, U nabyheid my lig. Wees U my wysheid, die waarheid, die woord. Versoen met U godheid vir ewig gebind. U is my Vader en ek is U kind. U Gees nou in woning en eenheid herstel. Wees U my beskermer, my swaard vir die stryd. Wees U die Godspeel in wie ek verbly. U my sielsvesting, my veilige wat ook al gebeur, wees steeds my toevlug, o Heerser van alles.
Hallo, my naam is Heidi. Ek is Werner se vrou en Dennis se skoondogter. Groete van Nieu-Seeland. Soos julle kan hoor, is ek Engels sprekend, maar ek gaan vir ons 'n stukkie uit die Bybel lees in Afrikaans en daarna in Engels. Ek wil eerstens net sê dankie vir Pa, vir Dennis, vir al jou liefde deur die jare en die manier waarop jy altyd so mooi oor my gepraat het en van my gepraat het en van ons kinders. Ons gaan jou baie mis. Okay, so ons lees vanoggend uit Matteus 6, 19 tot 21. Moenie vir julle skatte op aarde bymekaar maak, waar mot en roes dit verniel, en waar diewe inbreek en dit steel nie. Maak vir julle skatte in die hemel bymekaar, waar mot en roes dit nie verniel nie, en waar diewe nie inbreek en dit steel nie. Waar jou skat is, daar sal jou hart ook wees. And then in English, do not store up for yourselves treasure on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
Thank you, Heidi, for reading to us from Matthew in both Afrikaans and English. And I wanted to share a message with you this morning that connects with a memory that I have of my dad. Probably my greatest memory of him was how hard he worked. I remember he used to say to me, he's working so hard that he can have this wonderful retirement and that we can also receive this inheritance. And my word, he certainly did work very hard throughout his life. But of course, as life goes, that dream of this affluent retirement and all of that didn't materialize. But that is the nature of life and of money. And it's something for us just to consider regarding our own lives. And so Heidi read to us from Matthew 6. And there we read, depending on the version that you're reading, it says, do not lay up for yourselves, or some versions have, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but store up or lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Now, the interesting thing about that passage is that there's a Greek word that appears twice in the verse. And I know it's been translated lay up or store up, which is not wrong. It's fine. But I thought I would just take us one layer down. Now, this word is the Greek word for treasure. And the Greek word is thesauros. Thesauros. That's the Greek word for treasure. And when I say that this Greek word appears twice in that verse, I mean once as a verb and once as a noun. So in Greek it actually reads thesaurizo, which is the verb, thesaurizo, thesauros. So if we were to translate that directly into English, directly from the Greek, it would say something like, do not treasure the treasure on earth, but treasure the treasure in heaven. So it's translated, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. So it's do not treasure the treasure on earth, but treasure the treasure in heaven. And I think we're all quite familiar with this verse. And I was wondering what your interpretation is of that. How do you store up for yourselves treasures in heaven? So when I ask people this question, they say, well, it's good deeds. I do good deeds here on earth. And then in heaven, there's this little treasure that drops into my heavenly treasure box. And I wonder whether you might share that same idea. But as I think about that sort of interpretation, so I do good things here on earth, when I turn the other cheek, or when I'm generous with my money, or whatever the case may be, I'm storing up for myself this treasure in heaven. But there's a problem with that. It sounds very noble. Yes, that's right. Don't, store up wealth over here. Moth and rust and all sorts of other things, as my father realized in his life, destroy wealth. Rather store up treasure in heaven. There's a problem for me in that, because in my mind's eye, I see a person who has done this in their lives. They've stored up for themselves treasure in heaven. I see them arriving in heaven, say. Let's just, hypothetically speaking. So they die here on earth, then they arrive in heaven, say. And I can just imagine them arriving there and running forward and even bumping Jesus out of the way and saying, where's my box? Where's my box of treasure? Because I've been saving up treasure in heaven with all my good deeds on earth. And what I want us to realize this morning is that the motive has not changed at all. The treasure, the physical treasure, I don't know, are those gemstones that fall into your box, or are they coins or heavenly coins, or what? Dropping into your box. And then the only thing you want is to see that box and open it and see the treasure inside. You see, nothing's changed. You're still hunting treasure, but now it's sanctified somehow because it's no longer on earth, but it's in heaven. And I think God just looks at that and goes, listen, there's no difference here. You might as well seek the treasure on earth, because your mindset, your heart has not changed at all. And so when I read, do not treasure the treasure on earth, but treasure the treasure in heaven, I go, all right, what is the treasure in heaven? And for me personally, it's not a box full of heavenly jewels or heavenly coins that I'm looking forward to opening one day. It's something else. And I want to just remind us all of a verse in Genesis 15. And God is actually speaking to Abraham in this verse. And it's Genesis 15, verse 6. And there we read, "Do not be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield and your very great reward." And that's just beautiful to me, because it brings into perspective that whole teaching of treasuring the treasure in heaven. He is, in fact, he himself is the treasure in heaven. And so if we take the second part of that verse, or the end of it, where Heidi read to us, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Well, that person who collects a treasure box on earth full of gems and coins is the same as the person who then collects the treasure box in heaven full of heavenly gems and coins. There's no difference between them. They are not treasuring the treasure that is in heaven. They actually still treasuring. That guy who bumps Jesus out of the way and runs and wants to see his box is still actually treasuring the treasure on earth. He's just transferred the concept into heaven. But this here, Abraham says, God says to Abraham, "I am your very great reward." And so that has had tremendous meaning in my life, where I've come to realize, oh, I see, Lord, you are the treasure. You are the treasure. And in fact, that treasure is ours even on this side of the grave, where he comes and indwells us, and we are intimate with him, and he breathes new life into us. And life does become a great joy, because I now have the treasure of all treasures. And it really is my prayer, as we think about Dennis's life and all his tremendous work, all his hard work over so many years. And I just pray that for us, this idea of God himself as our treasure will be a reality as we think of his life. I must admit, in the latter part of his life, I think he certainly did see the fleeting nature of money and the way it can let you down, which is a wonderful place to come to realize that you cannot put your trust in it, and that there is something greater that is a treasure far beyond the value of earthly treasure. I thank God today for my father's life, and I also pray that God will be with you as you mourn and grieve the loss of a brother, of an uncle, a friend, and may God knock on our door, the door of our hearts, even this day, with the same sentence of that he spoke to Abraham: "I am your very great reward." Amen.
The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me lie in pastures green. He leads me by the still, still waters. His goodness restores my soul. And I will trust in you. And I will trust in it's my